Hi, I'm Antonia, and I am the host of the Working Moms Playbook. Here, real moms share real stories, building businesses while battling infertility, hitting breastfeeding goals without sacrificing their careers, finding their style as new moms, and so much more. And it's just season 1. Let's jump in because let's face it, moms don't have time to waste. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Working Moms Playbook. This is your host, Antonia. Today, we are going to be talking with Binto co-founder Suzie Welsh Devine. I've known Suzie for quite a few years, and I'm so excited to have her on this podcast episode to talk about balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship, career shifts, as well as women's health and fertility. Let's dive closer into this episode. I can't wait to hear what you think.
I'd love to get started. Of course, I know your background to Binto, but some of our listeners might not. So I'd love if you could start out by giving just a little bit of background of how you got to where you are today.
So I started out working as a nurse. I did nursing school undergrad at the University of Virginia, and prior to that, in high school, I actually traveled to Malawi in Africa, which is a tiny little landlocked country in Southeast Africa. Mm-hmm. And I was 16. I'd never seen, extreme poverty like this. I was there for 2 weeks doing mission work, working with feeding centers and orphanages and all different types of, everything. And what I gleaned from that experience is that women are really the backbones of communities, and I was really fascinated by global and public health. And then that's what led me down the path of nursing school, because I figured that nursing at that time could really open the doors to different avenues within healthcare. So fast forward after nursing school, I knew I wanted to have a little bit of bedside experience and get some clinical experience under my belt. And I worked in Philadelphia at the time at Hahnemann University Hospital, which is no longer, sadly, but I was there from 2011 through 2013. So several years. And I worked postpartum, well baby nursery, and the NICU. And I learned so much. And what I really picked up there is that, most women aren't sick when they're going through these experiences. And I was just fascinated by the business end of healthcare and community healthcare. And while working there, I ended up applying to the University of Pennsylvania to get my master's degree, and I got in. And at the same time, I applied to a job at Fertility, which is under the HUC health system at the hospital at the University of Pennsylvania. And I got the job, and that led me down the world of fertility, which is what I do today. So, yes, my background's in nursing, and I've done pretty much only women's health, and was always very interested in kind of that community preventative health and the business side of healthcare.
So then, now that you have experience from 3 sides of this, right? Like you have the experience from working at the hospital, you have the experience of being a mother, and then you also have the experience with Binto. Combining all of that, knowing what you know now, what are some of the biggest gaps in our system right now that moms really need from fertility and trying to conceive to postpartum and beyond?
I think it's so tough because I think so much of it starts from a policy level. Mm-hmm. And I think right now we're just, America is just so far behind because we haven't really recognized women as first-class citizens. In fact, we're going backwards in time, and we need to understand that women, if they want to work, they can belong in the workplace. Their role isn't just in the kitchen. And we need to paid leave, and paid leave not just for postpartum, meaning like after you give birth, but bereavement leave, so miscarriage, pregnancy and infant loss, if you're in the NICU, if you have a NICU stay, and then fertility coverage. And I think that's really where so much of this starts, is at a policy level, and then that can matriculate into the workplace. Of course, if you are working for a private company that's lucky enough to have a CEO or a board that recognizes and can offer these benefits, and that's incredible. But until we make some of these systemic changes, it's just really hard.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no other way around it, and I think that's why groups like Chamber of Mothers exist.
Right.
And we, need to keep supporting those groups, because we need those activists on the ground, because it starts at a policy level.
I mean, there's so much that we go through, right, as women specifically. Like, there's burnout, hormone imbalances, there's fertility, whether it comes as a struggle or if it's something that doesn't come as a struggle for some of us. There's always a million things that can happen. But with all of these things that we face, we often do so silently, right? And I know Binto has kind of become a voice, especially in the fertility sector, of trying to bring more awareness. But why do you think some of these struggles are so underdressed in the mainstream healthcare communities?
I think because for so long, healthcare has been really dominated by men, and hormones are very misunderstood. I think we often think of them as sex hormones, but estrogen, for example, is really a brain hormone. So we have receptors on our brain for estrogen, and one of the best examples of this is really in menopause. And in menopause, we see a steep decline in estrogen levels, and in perimenopause, it really wavers, so you're going to have big ups and downs. And then once you hit that last period, you stop producing estrogen. And when we stop producing estrogen, some women actually sort of lose gray matter, like specific parts of the brain that sort of dissipate. And we can see how big of a role estrogen plays in our brain. And when we, in the medical system, downplay these symptoms that come along with the hormones estrogen, right? A female dominant hormone, testosterone, is also a big part of this that women have, and that gets depleted in menopause. We're not listening, and it's because male-dominated field for many years, we're not studying the female body, we're not including females in clinical trials for certain things. So we're finally talking about all of this. We're finally learning more. So we're really at the precipice of an exciting time in medicine, where we're learning more about menopause. We're learning more about these hormones and how they interact with our brain, the daily symptoms they may cause. And hopefully this can create some change within the medical system. Of course, our medical system is also driven by insurance. And we, unfortunately, that is a beast again, and they're held to those billable time slots. And postpartum, you're only allowed one postpartum visit. That's all due to insurance. OBGYNs are the lowest paid surgeons in the field. Yes. So that's why you're going to see more on the coasts, where they're going to be higher salaries. They're also the most highly litigated surgeons, and it's multi-factor situation. So male-dominated field for many years, female body not studied. We're finally learning more. Insurance, also big part of the problem. How doctors have to, stick to these visits and these, time slots and billable procedures. And then also OBGYN are not paid enough by insurance, through insurance companies or what have you. And then they're the most highly litigated.
It's been really interesting to learn through the different people I've been speaking to for this season. Insurance is something that keeps coming up. And, it's one of those things where we all know it's a problem, but then there's just so many small details that we don't realize is a part of the problem. Like through my own experience and then through interviewing a lactation consultant who was also my lactation consultant, it's so interesting how lactation consultants aren't widely covered, right? And then it extends into like doulas. Like doulas aren't really covered either. Like that's an out-of-pocket expense to have a support person who might be like more educated in certain aspects to support you through delivery. It's just so, I guess, eye-opening to almost the lack of support that we as women have during such a crucial time in our lives.
Correct. Women, again, it really is that I personally feel like our world views women as second-class citizens.
Yeah. It certainly feels that way, especially when you are going through it, and it can be very frustrating as well when you have certain ideas and ways that you want to have your pregnancy and bring the baby into the world and have your postpartum, and America specifically just continuously works against you, right?
Correct.
So then going over back into Binto, I know you guys have grown tremendously since I interviewed you years ago. It feels like at this point during the good old Philly style days when you first launched. Like so much has changed. You've grown tremendously. So I'm sure that some of your goals and projects for the company and in how you want to support women have also changed since when I first spoke to you. Could you go over some of that, a little bit of what Binto's been up to, what we can look forward to in the future, and how it's playing a role in helping to promote change in women's health?
Sure. Thank you for always being such a supporter of us. It means so much. Our community at Binto is everything to me. We wouldn't be here without our community, and that's exactly what keeps us going and what we want to focus on in the future is community. And I think education is so important. So that will never change. And I think we'll continue to go deeper in on that. And educational resources, we're still very bullish on that, on telehealth consulting services. I think, again, now more than ever, especially with insurance, I really do think that having access to all of this at your fingertips from your home is so important, and just having someone that you can talk to that's a licensed provider for an attainable price point, that will never change. And that's really core to who Binto is, what we do, and what we will continue to provide. As far as the products, although we are very strong in wanting to win in the fertility and prenatal sector, we also feel very strong about owning the full reproductive life cycle. And menopause is a really important factor in that. We have millennials hitting perimenopause and wanting to face it differently than, my mother's generation, the generation of that awful study that came out saying that hormone replacement therapy is bad for you in terms of your heart. It's actually not true. And hormone replacement therapy biosimilars are very important for managing menopause. The more we learn about it, and with women living longer, it's an important phase of the reproductive life cycle that we you need to manage effectively. So these are the things that we think about. The product line is always, like the main staple of what we provide, and convenience, thinking about what people want to take, how they want to take it. It's always top of mind.
So then looking at the products that you do have right now, if someone who's listening were to go on your website, and I know you can take the quiz. That's what I always tell my friends and family, to take the quiz. But what are some of those go-tos that you really just think could make a difference for women? And you could go in stages if that's helpful, like just health, and then whatever, pre-pregnancy, pregnancy, postpartum, menopause, so on and so forth. If you could just highlight a few of those, because I know it can be, like, the supplement world can be so overwhelming, right?
It's very overwhelming. I mean, that's really why we started. So the light bulb moment was really working with my patients at fertility, and the fact that they, felt so out of control during a time when you want to feel something so badly, right? You want to get pregnant more than anything, and you literally have zero control. And so creating a supplement routine to go along with the medications that you were taking was a way to provide like a little gift for yourself, something to give you some semblance of control and really give you that ability to make a difference in your body while going through infertility. And that was the light bulb moment. So what we do is we create customized vitamin packets for women at any stage from period through menopause. And you can do this, again, like Antonia said, by going through our quiz, which is really supposed to be like working with a nurse, like taking a health intake survey at the doctor's office, or you can build your own pack, or you can book a consult with one of us, and we can actually like help you build a pack. It's $20 to do that if you want like an even more customized approach and to work with someone. But for hormone balance, what you really want to be looking for, your B vitamins, magnesium, probiotics, super important. During the fertility stages, it's antioxidants. So antioxidants are going to help us get rid of free radicals in the body, and that's really all about inflammation. So we want to focus on decreasing any of that systemic inflammation in the body and support the quality of eggs, sperm, whatever it is that we're trying to focus on, and help sustain a healthy uterus as well. So antioxidants would be N-acetylcysteine, CoQ10, and acetyl-L-carnitine. Those are really the big ones you're going to see around fertility. And then, of course, omega fats. And again, probiotic. I'm going to say probiotic for everyone because gut health is literally that important. It's tied to everything in the body. It's how we break down our hormones and into our mental health, and it's tied to our uterine and vaginal microbiome. So again, plays a huge role in fertility and pregnancy.
Your pre and probiotic, I think, is like my favorite pill in the pack. I don't know why, but it's not like it tastes like anything. It's not like it's a chewable. It's not, you know what I mean? But for some reason, I do feel a change when I take any of the pills and versus when I don't. And being completely transparent, I am like the worst. I think I modify my Binto order like every single month because I am so bad at taking it every day.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
So bad at it. But for some reason, that green probiotic pill just continues to be my tried and true. I don't know why.
I know. It's because it's so good. It's the Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium strain. Or that has been our hero product, I would say, since day one. So Binto has been around since technically 2016. We started our own product line in 2017, which is crazy. And the probiotic and prenatals were the first.
Oh, wow. Were they really?
Yeah, but we were the first prenatal and fertility company that had that paired every person with a probiotic. And that's because, again, like I said earlier, I went to UVA, and at the time there was some really amazing research that came out of UVA looking at maternal gut health and pregnancy outcome, in particular autism. And we now know so much more. I mean, fast forward, we're almost like 10 years in, we know so much more about gut health and its role in maternal health, mental health, fertility health. And I'm just so proud of us for being, pioneers in the probiotic space. And yeah, our probiotic's awesome.
I love it. And it's just,
I'm so happy you love it.
I think I've had it from general health to trying to conceive to pregnancy and postpartum. That is, through all of my pill pack changes that I've had, that's the one that has stayed consistent.
I know. I think everyone's like that. And then if they do stop it, they're like, oh my God, I need to go back on this. It really works. I'm like, yeah.
It really works so well. I can't get over it. I also wanted to cover being an entrepreneur and being a mom. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you had not had your kids yet when you first started Binto, correct?
Correct. I was 27. I had the idea for a long time before I started. Mm-hmm. Started it when I was 27. Didn't have my first until I was 31 or 32. And I went through infertility while building this company. And I had no idea that I would go through infertility myself. I would say that was definitely harder in many ways than being a mom and running the business. I think because going through infertility while trying to build a fertility company and being a fertility nurse was just, excuse me, but hell on earth. Horrible. I think it set us back in a lot of ways. I couldn't be the best entrepreneur that I needed to be. And if I could change back time, go back and change time, I would. It's one of the most valuable things as you have as an entrepreneur. The only thing you have is time and money. And I think it cost me a lot of time. But, we're still here today. I keep moving forward every day. I can't go back and change it. I also think it taught me so much. I understand our customers probably more than anyone else. Like, not only am I a licensed provider in this space, I am a mom. I think so many of these companies like Binto, they're either just a mom or they're a provider or they're someone that went through infertility, and I'm all of those things.
Right.
And I think that just makes us the best.
It makes it very authentic in different ways because you understand it from so many different angles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All of them. But being a mom and being an entrepreneur is brutal. I think unless you have unlimited resources, that's like, don't go out and do it. I started it at some age, so it was so different. But yeah, unless you're like truly unlimited resources, it's tough.
Yeah.
Or unless your kids are older, it's definitely challenging. I'm so fortunate to have a phenomenal co-founder, Andy Schmerin. We've been friends since middle school. She's a women's health PA, and she is our COO. So really like data operations minded. I'm more like marketing, branding, front of house. And so we balance each other out. We're both young moms and we go through it together. But I am not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. I think it's very tough.
Yeah, it's in general, being a mom in this world, as I have learned over these past year, it's just so hard. There's so many directions and levels that are just thrown at you, whether it's when you've just had the baby and you're freshly postpartum, your hormones are all over the place and people are annoying you. And then, if you're lucky enough to have maternity leave for those 3 months, it's that in itself is, for lack of a better term, crazy, because it's not like the baby turns 3 months and then becomes fully independent and sleeps through the night and does all this stuff, yet you're expected to go back and work efficiently the same way that you were prior to having the baby. Like there's just so much that's thrown your way. And then health wise, it's hard to take care of yourself. And then you add like entrepreneurship into it. It is so much to juggle. We as mothers really juggle so much, especially when we're working moms, right? Like there's just an added level of responsibility there. And I feel like guilt as well, because you have to really find ways to share your time and still give your kids the life that you want to give them, but also still accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish. And it's really hard.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
Thank you so much for listening to the Working Moms Playbook. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with another mama who could use a little extra support or a reminder that she's not alone. And if you loved today's conversation, it would mean the world if you took a second to follow, rate, and share the podcast on social media. Every share truly helps creators like me grow this community and reach more incredible moms just like you. Until next time, remember, you're doing better than you think, and your village is right here.